Hey, vinyl community, Beatle fans, just random people who stumbled across this video. Today is going to be another Beatle-related video, and I want to talk today about my 10 favorite John Lennon vocal performances. Now, I'm not getting into any John Lennon solo work. For whatever reason, I feel like after Abbey Road, John Lennon's voice was just not the same. He didn't necessarily sing quite the same way with the same kind of intensity, the same kind of aggressiveness, the same kind of passion that he had when he was singing with the Beatles. You get a little bit of it on Plastic Ono Band, but after that, I mean, I suppose you could argue for Baby Please Don't Go, the live version, which is off of Sometime in New York City, but by and large, for his solo stuff, you don't get the same John Lennon that you got when he was in the Beatles. And so I want to talk about 10 of my favorite John Lennon vocals on Beatle records. Now, they're not going to be in any particular order. I'm not going to rank them from least favorite or what. I'm not going to do any of that. It's just going to be 10 that I invite you to go back and explore. And John Lennon, you know, when people talk about like the heavy singers, the belters, like the Robert Plant kind of vocals, I'm not saying John Lennon is necessarily in their league, but he has some amazing vocals. The first one that I'm going to pick is actually a song I don't particularly like, and I don't think many Beatle fans like, but there's no denying that John Lennon's vocal on this song, albeit it's not a great song, but the way that he sings it, the passion that he brings to this song, it's just total John Lennon. It's a fantastic vocal right from the beginning of this track. And I'm talking about Mr. Moonlight, which is off of Beatles for Sale. Let's go right into the intro on this track, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Mr. Moonlight. And that's really all I need to hear for that song. I mean, he sings it kind of in the same way throughout. There's a lot of passion. He loved that song. It was actually a B-side. I think the band was Doctor and the Medics or something like that. It was an old 1950s track that John loved. And you can tell, I mean, he is giving it his all. Okay, the next track that I want to talk about is also going to be off the Beatles for Sale album. And that track is one of John, what I feel his coolest vocal. Such a smooth delivery. I remember, you know, thinking, God, it's so weird that they would lead off the album with this track because it's not a typical opening track for a Beatles. I mean, take a look at the tracks that opened their first three albums. You got I Saw Her Standing There, great up-tempo track, It Won't Be Long, a dynamic up-tempo track, A Hard Day's Night, just an exuberant up-tempo track. And then for Beatles for Sale, you get No Reply, but I love John's vocal on that. And I know it's double track, but still, it just sounds so cool. I've always loved this vocal. This happened once before, I came to your door. Now, the third track I want to talk about was actually on a British compilation, collection of Beatles oldies, and it was on the Beatles 6 album in the United States, and I'm talking about Bad Boy. And John Lennon, in those early 60s Beatle albums, he really was such an aggressive singer, such a fantastic voice. And Bad Boy is one of those where, you know, again, like Mr. Moonlight, he is just cutting loose and he is giving it his all. Always loved his vocal on this track. Okay, my next favorite vocal performance from John is a single that the Beatles released in 1968. The flip side was Hey Jude, but this song is, I think, one of the earliest versions of heavy metal. I'm talking, of course, about Revolution. Okay, the next song that I want to talk about, and say what you will about Yoko Ono, but his passion for her seemed to rekindle that aggressive singing style that he really hadn't used in the Sgt. Pepper album or Magical Mystery Tour, but it was back not only for the White Album, but it was also back for Abbey Road, and this is the song that I think really kind of shows the John Lennon of old a little bit. And I'm talking about I Want You, She's So Heavy. You know I want you so bad. And speaking of the White Album, this next track is one of the only true blues songs that the Beatles ever recorded. And I'm talking about Your Blues. Number 7 pick, I want to go back to the Abbey Road album for the lead-off track, Come Together. There's sort of an underwater quality to his voice, or it's just treated in a certain kind of way, but it sounds very cool, and I love the way he just attacks the vocals on the song. Number 8 is another passionate song for Yoko, and this one was performed at the rooftop concert in the Get Back film, Don't Let Me Down. Don't let me down. Okay, the next song that I am picking is going to be Money off their second album with the Beatles. It is a Motown cover, and John Lennon just sings the hell out of it. And the last track that I'm picking, the classic, one of those covers that the Beatles just made their own. I'm talking, of course, about Twist and Shout, where you can just hear John's vocals shredding as he is singing the song. It's so fantastic, so amazing. Hard to believe this was their first album, but it is a classic. Well, shake it up, baby, now. Shake it up, baby. Twist and shout. So that is my list. Let me know what you think. What are your top 10 favorite John Lennon vocals? Doesn't have to be the Beatles, but that's just what I chose. That's obviously my favorite era. Hope you're doing great. Take care.